Mm.
1738.
Ooh.
All
Ooh.
right. Welcome to the
Ooh.
8th episode
Ooh.
of the IDL
Oh.
Lowground podcast with me, Nathan. I'm joined today by two blithering idiots.
Hello.
Right.
That's one of the
I'm
blithering idiots.
I'm a blithering idiot.
I'm
If that
also a
wasn't already
blithering idiot.
obvious.
So we're
You're
going to
the
be reviewing
dodgin idiot.
an interesting week of IDL games. Now,
Yep.
you might be
One-
asking why I'm talking here when Henry's supposedly the podcast host. Well, it was
Yeah,
decided
Finn, you're
that,
not the host, by the way.
someone with a
that?
little bit of organizational power
Am I the guest
and
now?
common sense
We're
needed to
both
be
the
here.
guest.
Oh, it's the Nathan. Nathan's running it. Oh, I like this. No, I like this. They didn't tell me. I've been demoted. Where's my P45?
You've been kicked off.
I-
Bro, you need to be employed to get a P45. And
Well,
that's not
I
coming
yeah,
anytime soon.
You know, as far as I understand, you're dodgy in hosting this week.
Yeah. Dodgy in mid lane.
Yup.
Dodging me.
This is the dodgin week, so
Yep.
we'll get onto that at some point. But yeah, Nathan, sorry, your podcast. What's the schedule for this week's pod?
I don't know. That's just about as far as I got.
Okay, all right, okay.
Delegate him. You're in charge now.
Well, I actually wrote some things to Finn. Finn's gonna have to click on them in our chat because I can't click off my Discord. But
Alright.
this is some things I wanted to talk about. A couple of things, like just general podcast. Thanks for all the feedback on everyone's.
Wait, where did you write them?
Actually, I do
your
have
chat,
a point on
in
this.
with you.
It's
just
podcast
you.
feedback related,
Okay, go.
and it's going to break the fourth wall immediately.
Okay,
Alright.
fire away.
I've been discussing this with some people.
Oh shit! Hell.
Yeah, and one of the things that we are aware of is that when people watch this, it turns out they're also in the future. In these podcasts, we like to pretend we're on a Sunday night, even though we just aren't. And the watchers also aren't on a Sunday night because time has in fact passed linearly for everyone at that point in time. And it's possible that rather than trying to review game week by game week, maybe the right thing to do is to have a set podcast night midweek where you review what'll end up being like 2 games out the previous week and 2 games out the current week. You could even show a table that adapts to that, discuss the scenarios that are left. Obviously, we can't do it here, given, we are actually recording this on, what is it, Sunday the 16th?
Yeah.
But hypothetically, if we were recording on, say, the 20th in future,
Yeah, exactly.
maybe the right thing to do.
No, I can't do the 20th.
I actually thought about that today at work, but I thought
You guys think about this?
yes, bro. I thought that we could just do because the problem with having one dedicated day a week is like weekly schedules differ. So I mean, like,
But not for you guys, right? You guys can pick a night that works for you and then find guests who that can work for.
yeah, but like mine might not work on a certain day. Like mine's pretty much works on some days, doesn't work on others, and it's kind of the same for guests. Like we want to get.
Oh, don't say kind of the same for guests. I could be busy.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes I've got things on.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
know your
like
job
work.
situation.
Yeah.
Well, IDL games.
That's
So?
true. That is true.
Ooh. Oh.
No, but like,
Sheesh.
if you do, like, based on when we're saying most of the matches happen this season, right? They tend to be Mondays or Sundays with some on a Wednesday, right?
Mm.
So if you were to say we'll either do this Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday each time.
Yeah.
Like those kind of midweek days where
Yeah.
you might get a match on Wednesday, but you don't get them on Thursday or Friday very often.
Yeah.
I like the idea of like a linear increase in excitement towards a given day of the week, though. Because
rather
I'll
than
call
just
the
jump scaring
monkeys.
them.
The monkeys in the podcast channel are fiending for it.
Yes.
I also kind of think, being able to discuss things that have happened recently
Yeah.
means that, for example, embarrassing incidents involving, well, we can't speak about it yet because it's not actually been discussed on the podcast.
It's not happened.
Clearly,
It's not happened yet.
Despite spending half of last week's podcast hinting at it.
Yeah, sorry. The people wanted to talk about it. I don't know.
I like that, but I just think
let's get your feedback, guys,
Yeah.
listeners, in the podcast channel. Give us your feedback.
Comment, but before you comment, and before you do that, subscribe.
we're like averaging about 75 views an episode. That's actually pretty good. Like that's.
I want to know. There was the episode that had 100 and something views, and I want to know who the other 50 people were,
Yeah, I don't know.
and whether
bro.
they just got badly lost.
I don't know. I think maybe it was people just watching it throughout their day and clicking.
Wait,
on
who
it
was the
multiple
guest in
times.
that one? Who was the guest in that
It was just us. We were just freestyling it.
No, it's just the freaky.
It was the prequelations. That was the first one. And
Oh,
then
the
everyone realised it was shit
prequelation.
and stopped watching.
Yeah. We could see which guest got the most numbers at the end, right?
I know who it was so far. I think it's
Nathan.
well, that's in the future. We can't talk about that yet. I think it's Edgar. Edgar so far.
Edgar's. Oh.
I mean, Edgar does have a. Let's be fair. Edgar's got a beautiful voice.
Yes.
Oh, he does.
So
Edgar's
soothing.
very pleasant to listen to.
And face.
You've got a pleasant voice as well. Both
True.
of
My
you.
voice is irritating.
Do we have the same headphones?
I don't know. What headphones are you using? No, mine don't have a weird bar on them.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. They just look.
These were the cheapest headphones on Amazon's Basics. They were a tenner.
But
They're
okay.
JBL.
we need to start a GoFundMe for Finn's headphones because you already had one for your PC. That's a good point. Somebody said to me, who was it? Was it you, Nathan, or was it Finn, or was it some? It might have been anyone, but they said, oh, it was Nelson. Said there should be a Patreon pot for the IDL podcast specifically, and I thought, what? But I didn't know what exactly was getting paid for. But an IDL,
It's my job, Henry.
Yeah, that is a good point. If people think that an IDL specific general IDL Patreon pot is worth thinking about, I don't know what would specifically get paid.
What if we reinvest all the money into the trap house?
Oh,
I mean, no,
okay.
because you don't want to do things that not everyone can attend.
That's true.
I mean, like, there's been chats, right, about saying everyone chucking £2 at the start of the season and we'll get the winner as a prize or something like that. But I think, to some degree, I think that takes away the fun of it.
Yeah,
I
like that it's just for aura.
Yeah,
Like,
because you get
already. It's not like people don't compete hard enough to fucking win. We don't need a prize pool to make people want to win.
people are getting sick out here.
I physically vomit in every draft. I cannot keep it in, and it'll be a metaphobia warning to people who find the sound of gagging sick. Take your headphones off for like 5 seconds. But Josh would be like, "Oh, I think we should ban this hero," and I go, "Yeah, I think that's really good." Down the mic, and just do it every single time. And like they just have to discuss the draft because I got wireless headphones, so I can hear it. I vomit, I come back, and I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea, guys.
So, I'm currently, joint 4th in the list of most IDL wins.
Okay.
But I have never won a captain's draft season.
Okay.
Which I will wager continues to be true at the end of the season. I mean, who knows?
I don't know. We don't know what's happened this week.
It's not happened yet.
Hold on, we know what happened. We know what happened last week, though.
What?
So I think we do know that.
Oh, okay,
We
yeah,
do
we
know
do
that.
know that.
I think.
Yes.
But
we haven't covered it in the pod yet, so.
it means that I have the joint most captain's mode wins.
How many is that?
5.
5.
5. I'm on 2.
The only other current player who also has 5 captain's mode wins and no
Custard.
captain's draft wins.
Ollie.
Mr. Nelson.
Nelson.
Oh.
Damn, next week's guest.
Nelson
Spoiler
also
alert.
can't win captain's draft because you can't pick tight onto every game in captain's draft.
Yeah, I've
True.
not won a captain's draft tournament yet. I've come second in one and quite bad in another, but I've won all of the mode seasons I've played so far
Damn.
because I have a hero puddle, and you can't ban all 7 of them in
Yep.
captain's mode. So,
You can't ban Wyvern every game in captain's mode.
although maybe you should. We can't speak
We
to
can't
whether or not you should ban
Or
it.
maybe
It's
you
in the
shouldn't.
future.
I don't know.
Maybe
Yeah, maybe you
oh,
shouldn't.
whoa! I don't think that's the lesson you should learn.
Maybe we should ban
I just
tight
think-
onto every game.
Maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Again, we can't discuss this
We
because
can't, it
apparently
hasn't
we're in the
happened.
fucking
It's not,
past.
it's not happened. It's in the
Okay.
When we're in the past, we're in the present.
So this is obviously like season. Well, I'm not gonna say season. It's because the seasons are of the actual IDL. So this is like chapter 1 of the podcast. What's another word for chapter? I was thinking about this. What to name it
Series.
next season? Series. But then the games are in series for IDL. Era. Arc.
Arc. Oh, season 39 arc.
Yeah.
Oh, you
but
like
this is
season 39?
but this is just IDL.
No. Let's get sophisticated.
Okay.
This is book 1 of the Lowground podcast.
Book 1. Oh, I like that.
But this is just so far on the YouTube. I think it's just Lowground Pod. So maybe I need to edit all of the titles again and go Lowground Pod Book 1 or Chapter 1.
Yeah. Also, Henry, should we do like diabolical thumbnail faces and just slap them on everyone?
I mean, we can, but it's more editing I can't be asked for. I'm not gonna lie.
I think,
No, I like it. I like how it looks. It's good. But maybe there's one episode coming up where we should do podcast faces.
Yeah.
One thing I would like to do for next season is to set up the IDL channels to automatically capture the VODs permanently
Yes.
into YouTube.
Yeah, that'd be best.
I mean, the other thing I think we should consider is just direct streaming in YouTube. I'm a big fan of that personally.
Me too.
Yeah, 'cause it keeps it, right?
It keeps it automatically. It's got its own clipping functionality, and the clips will be stored quite nicely. And the YouTube interface is nicer. Like being able to put, like the only thing that's worse about YouTube, like YouTube's also less data intensive and stuff like that, so easier. The only thing that is, I think, worse is the chat. The chat is undeniably worse in YouTube live streams. But I mean, also when there's two matches going on at once, you don't have to use different fucking channels.
Oh, you can use
What do you
streaming
mean?
on the same YouTube channel.
You can have multiple live videos at one time on a YouTube channel.
So we can just have a IDL channel, and that has like 2 streams on, and then you can multi-stream them as well. That'd be sick.
I already can tell that Jordan's gonna put a comment like, "But I like streaming on IDL UK too, because he always streams on
The
IDL
splash
UK,
screens
even
are
when
still
there's
gonna be
one
there.
game."
I mean,
Oh, cat
again,
tail.
you know, here's another topic for the podcast discussion channel. How do you feel about YouTube versus Twitch? If we were to say next season we want to start streaming on Twitch on YouTube instead.
Oh yeah.
Let's stream on Kick.
Kick. That's a
We can
great
get a
idea.
steak gambling sponsor.
We can actually get
and make-
naked then.
Yeah. Oh, you
That
could do X-rated streams
So
on
the
Kick.
Lucas episode is next season. Whoa, Nathan! Nathan, it's too early. We're getting banned.
Oh, sorry.
Getting banned.
Right, should we talk about the games, or are we? I think actually maybe we shouldn't start with the games. Actually, I changed my mind. I completely changed my mind immediately. I don't want to talk about the games. Let's keep.
Well, I do have. I do want to just finish off the point about like the next season. Do we just go each week on the games that have been played since the last podcast episode, which would be like a kind of mix of weeks, but it would mean that.
But then you can also show a live table of the matches that have happened, right?
Yeah.
And that's not going to be a table you'll see anywhere else because the announcement channels they only put a table every week.
Yeah. So
So it gives you quite an interesting.
Fresher in the head.
Sorry.
Well. Games will be fresher in your head.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly.
With Edgar, where we were like, what happened in this fucking game?
Yeah,
It was
which
like a
week
game
is
one of
it?
us it was a game one of us was in, and we were like, I don't remember.
I tell you what. Another thing we can briefly discuss is there was a proposal I put to the captains this season to change the playoff format last minute.
Is this
I don't know
happening
if you
today?
saw this.
Yeah, I saw this.
We are
Yeah.
captains. Did I read it or did I pretend to read it?
You pretended to read it. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, that was like macho text though. Can you explain it to me now?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what I've said is, like,
Thank
number
you,
one,
sir.
we don't touch the main playoffs. That is a set format and it's there for a reason, right? The top 4 go to main playoffs. The only thing we need to think about is what if there's a fucking tie for 4th? Need to think about that a little bit because I don't really want to add extra weeks into the season. I think that gets rough quite quickly because you end up. But the main point, otherwise, the consolation bracket and things like that, is to get teams playing games. You know what I mean? So you're not just sat around with half the league not getting any more games for 3 weeks. So what I've said instead is, you know, also there's 3 teams tied for 7th/last at the moment. We're trying to, you know, rush to schedule a bunch of BO1s. But realistically, come on, we're not going to get those. Like, trying to get 3 BO1s in with all these teams before Sunday night, by the end of Sunday night, going to be very hard. And if we do manage to do it, there'll be a bunch of subs floating around, which just kind of undermines the competitive integrity a bit.
Yeah.
As well as you run into the disaster scenario where it goes 1-0, 1-0, 1-0.
And you just go again.
And it doesn't resolve anything.
You just go again. And then you do it until you go, fuck it, 1v1 mids, and then that's like the end of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I don't like that. So I'm like, maybe what we do with that group of teams is we make them all play BO3s in week 1 and 2 against each other to work out who the ultimate loser is. Nice. Because also that means we don't have a 9th place team that doesn't get to play anymore. Then 5th and 6th will likely be, you know, pretty close to each other. If at most, there'll be 1 point in it between 5th and 6th, I think. So they can play a BO3 against each other in week 1. And then week 2, the winner of that can play the team that drops out of the top 4.
Oh, and that's the spoon. Oh.
Well, it's like some weird, like, hybrid playoff thing, right? But ultimately, in my mind, it's just to get everyone else keeping playing games.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want any, like, it'd be nice to have no other games the week of the grand final, I think. Because, you know, it keeps a bit of the hype around it and all of that. But otherwise, you just kind of keep this, what am I trying to, you know what I mean? You keep everyone playing a bit longer.
Yeah.
To be honest, the team that loses out in that situation is actually the team that loses the 5th or 6th match.
Oh. What about 3rd?
Because
3rd only get 1 game.
3rd get 2 games.
What
Because 1st and 2nd go to uppers, 3rd and 4th go to lower bracket semi, The loser of that drops out and then
Oh.
plays the winner of 5th and 6th, right? The winner of that plays the loser of the upper bracket final.
Yeah, I'm lost. I'm not,
I
yeah,
forgot
I
it
trust
was
you.
double elimination. I thought it was.
Yeah,
It's
I
double
thought it.
elimination.
Is it double
It is
elimination?
double LM. It is double
Oh.
LM, yeah.
Was it not double elimination last season, or am I stupid?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, I'm
I
stupid
think.
as well.
Oh yeah, we
Oh, no.
went into lowers. No, or did we
Oh
not?
yeah,
I can't
no,
remember.
no. We did. We made the lower bracket run and won. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
we were in.
okay.
Yeah, okay. Now
Because
I
we
understand.
there was a bit we were gonna play the same team like 3 games in a row.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Destiny and Mowgli,
Hunt had us team.
you lost to Eddie is missing 2-0,
Yeah.
dropped to the lower
Yeah.
brackets, and then beat everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we lost the game 1 and beat everyone as well. Like we lost game 1 in almost all of those lower bracket ones.
Yeah.
It was really really horribly tense and stressful season.
Yeah, but it was good.
Yeah, it was based. I mean, look at us now. All of the DNM people are captains, possibly making it to uppers.
Yeah,
So there you go.
that'd be quite interesting.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Fuck you, Sean.
I think
We on.
good to keep these, good to keep thinking about how we do things. My only hesitation is I do quite like keeping a fixed playoff format, but it just doesn't seem feasible already, right?
Yeah.
With what's going on with the bottom 3. And to be honest, we have an agreed format for 8 teams and 10 teams. Alex and I went back and had a look, and that vote was very clear on what happens if we have 8 teams, very clear what happens if we have 10 teams. We didn't really think of what was going to happen if we had 9 teams.
The forbidden.
Which was,
Usually we would just peer pressure our way up to 10.
Was that why Jasper's
little bit
formula
of an
took so long as well? Because Jasper did like the scheduling formula thing that was like years.
No, Jeb and I spoke about, Jeb and I, we had done the 9-team thing before.
Mm.
Jeb and I spoke about how we were going to make it work and all that crap. I mean, he has to change the code a little bit to work out buys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's I mean, when you get more than 8 teams, I think it's gonna always struggle a bit to optimize the calculations.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've just kind of said the right thing to do then is to prejudice it towards like the first weeks rather than the later weeks, because you have a better idea what you're doing in the first 4 weeks than you do in the next 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Schedule's
So
full
always
apart.
better to prejudice the schedule, prejudice the schedule towards the first half.
Yeah, exactly. I like that.
I'm very big.
Jabba's fucking smashed it with that stuff.
Yeah.
The other thing that I need to get on with people is reviving the IDL data warehouse thing that we need to put together.
Ah, yeah.
Can I work in it? I've been applying at warehouse jobs. There was a warehouse cleaner job that said it, and I'm not joking. It wanted 2 years scrubbing experience. What does that mean? What does that mean? I mean, it's
Dodgin,
I
don't know.
But like, it was not looking good. I'm just gonna. What is the data warehouse though? I'm curious. What is it?
Well, so inspired by Henry's work on the strats stuff. We want to, number one, I'd love to make it so Alex wasn't having to manually input all of the game results into the ELO spreadsheet. I think that's miserable. So I'd love to automatically pull the ticketed results into the ELO sheet.
It does have to be super ticketed though. Like
now, if people miss tickets, custard. Custard. Oh, sorry.
Wasn't there that mysterious mid 1v1 that got ticketed as well? And that was
Yeah.
And then also, sometimes people are like ticketing the wrong teams. Like on the list, there's a team that's like.
I mean, yeah, but the teams don't matter so much because it's going to be the player IDs that go into the ELO sheet. So, like, if you put the wrong team tag,
automatically as well. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, and if we have to then manually go in and push the odd game result in, you know what I mean? That's not the end of the world. We'll need to make sure we have everyone's Dota ID and stuff like that, but that can easily be captured. So number one, doing ELO automatically would be cool, but also being able for you, like for casters or in the podcast and stuff like that, being able to just quickly flash up, a dashboard with the stats, how people have performed so far in the season, how their performance in the season compares to the general performance, like what's the normal KDA like versus how has it been in the season. Even being able to see stuff like observer wards place, D wards, all of those things, like because it captures a bunch of this data, and I believe it also does capture imp. We might even be able to recreate the fantasy stuff as well if you can find a way to put the fantasy scores in.
Fantasy team would be outrageous.
Well, we could do because Pete was showing me some stuff which is like in the GraphQL like area. There's so many different variables. So even if we can't get fantasy points from actually Dota, we can have our own fantasy league that's made up of different points.
Well, exactly.
That we like.
Yeah.
So
So
we can do something with that, whether or not we can do exact Dota fantasy. So I mean, the problem I have is I work with technical people at work. I work with data engineers and analysts and so on. I'm not one. And I've got people who understand this shit like Jabba and Moose and a bunch of others in there, but they can't. I don't necessarily understand where we need to start. And I think this is the classic. You need a project manager who understands enough of this to get us going.
yeah.
It's not me. I'm joking. It could be
No.
Henry.
It would not be me. I don't understand it.
Oh no,
Yeah.
you bash out Team of the Week in like a night.
Yeah,
I mean,
but I use DeepSeek and running it through
I was going to say,
every single
like,
different API. Like, just
if I were doing
yeah.
this myself, I would just pull it like I'd connect the API to Power BI.
Yeah, literally.
And use Power BI as a data processor. I could do that, I think, but I presume that's not the right thing to do based on all the complicated.
I've got this suggestion where we just make Sabater do it all, even more calculations and inputs. We'll just have him hand decide
Slave
fantasy
him.
points every game.
Unironically, Alex used to manually capture all of these stats as well. He used to capture all this shit about like
That
stun
is
duration
wild.
and
My
content.
absolute
That's
hero.
actually wild.
That's so sick.
We used to
How long
actually
would
have
that take?
we used to have an IDL data suite. Let me. Do you want the link? Just
Yeah.
like we're going into history now. I can't
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
the last time it was updated.
I
I'm
love this.
dropping it into the channel.
Okay, yeah. Can I bring this on the stream?
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay.
So
Oh,
like
God.
it goes back to like IDLs, like back to season 25, right? And what you can do is, you can, for example, say who has the lowest assists.
It
No,
says
if you
player
go,
search goon. It says player search goon.
yeah, that was a player who used to play in IDL. It's Gianni's brother. So
Oh,
you'd be able to compare.
Oh.
You'd be able to casters,
Yo.
and some of us had like things set up on our streams, right, where they would automatically show different screens from this. So you could do like comparisons of players. Any of the blue stats numbers are changeable as well, right? So you could change kills to any other stat that the data captures, or assists a 10-minute or anything like that to any other data that. So, for example, I'm going to change kills now to fantasy points.
Oh shit. And now
Yeah.
you've got
We also used it to capture like people's season predictions. What did people say was going to be the most picked hero, and what actually has it been so far in the season? Stuff like that.
uh-huh.
Oh my god. Do not press the game data tab, Henry.
Game data.
Oh, don't do it.
What
So
the
you can see that was capturing all of the ban orders, pick orders, who won the games. In player data, then you capture in player data all rather you'll find all of the like detail stuff with.
Oh my, it didn't even load at first. Wait,
Yeah.
what? So
Is this all manually input?
Alex put
I believe Alex was manually inputting this. Bless his soul.
Oh my god. Okay, we should do a pot just to pay him retroactively for that.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
And then if you go
that is
other things in
wild.
here, so if you go to our mini
Holy
splash,
shit.
if you go to the mini splash screen,
Wait, sorry, I've just got
next there's another one called mini,
Yeah.
another one called mini splash. Yeah,
Like the third one, second one?
second one.
uh
Second tab,
mini
splash.
splash. Oh, that's
So this
sick.
then, like, he captured he got everyone's profile pics, right? So you could just click on a team name at the top, and it would change to that, and it would come up with the player name and all their pictures, stuff like that, as well as the team banner if he had it.
Ah.
Oh my god.
Sick.
Is this your old profile picture, Nathan? On the left.
Sorry?
Your old profile picture was a crab.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's the crab with the knife, and then someone made the Sanking with a knife picture for one of the teams.
Ah.
Because I played a lot of Sanking made back in the day. And
And
then
now
the
it's
next
Nora with a knife.
screen is broken as well, but there was a stat splash screen as well, where you could have like a summarized
Sick.
view of player versus player, team versus team, all of that stuff. You could put the score in that you'd got at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and rather than selecting players, you could just select the equivalent position from each team. So you could go, and how do the POS 1s compare? How do the POS 2s compare?
Yeah. Oh,
So that's what I'd like
fucking
to get us back
sick.
to having, right? Because it may, from a casting perspective, it's a really easy step that adds a bunch of, flavor,
Yeah.
fun, all of these things. So it'd be great to start pulling this data in again.
Yeah.
But I don't want Alex manually doing it. And
No.
I'm not going to manually do it. If someone else wants to volunteer to manually do it, they're very welcome. But I suspect the right answer is we need to just find a way to connect all these APIs together and get the data out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really doable, to be fair. It might be worth, I mean, whoever the maybe this is an after season, like between seasons thing, but setting up all this stuff to do with like the polishing up of IDL between seasons, i.e., I know Finn and I have a podcast like Discord, but just for ideas and stuff. But same thing for like the coding stuff.
Yeah, there's a private channel in IDL, so anyone who's interested in getting involved, do. But I'm going to try and revive the efforts on that soon. Yeah, Adam's in there. The last thing was a bunch of people chatting about needing an ERD/UML diagram, and then fit them over the technologies, and just what does the database design need to look like, and all of that crap. And I'm just a bit like, I have no idea what you, my friends, are talking about.
Yup.
All I know is we should just like I wrote a script that managed to pull this into like a CSV, right? Just well, I say I wrote it. I mean,
like,
unashamedly, ChatGPT wrote it for me.
Yep. Good. I mean, it's so good at that. Why would you not use it?
With a bit of work, yeah. Like I could, in Python, it just pulled it into a CSV.
That's what everyone means by I wrote
into a
it.
sheets file.
These days, it's just ChatGPT.
I mean, if I don't get anywhere, if I can't work out how to make progress on this soon, I will, like, we have a tool at work, which is a very advanced AI coding tool that is only available to our technical team, but I'm just going to go and tell the IT guy that I need a license for reasons.
Yeah. Good.
It's an expensive tool, but, as the guy who manages the finances, I'll say it's in budget, give me it.
Wait, I like this side of Nathan.
Can you get him a job? I don't know.
That's not in budget.
No, definitely not in budget. Was cleaning your room in... Wait, Finn, you have a chair with a post.
Yeah, I've elevated the post with
from
the toad.
The chair to the post to the... Yeah.
The post with the toad is usually there, but I thought I'd make him higher, because he was usually... You get to see the whole post.
I want to see the whole post. That's something I'm sure of.
Oh! Nora, we know this one!
Oh, there is actually a question, topical question.
Nora question.
For Nathan, which was, if Nora would have been a boy dog, would his name have been Aaron?
So Nora, we didn't actually decide Nora's name before we got her. Unironically, my wife and I, my wife wanted to give her an old person name, and I didn't like any of the names she was suggesting.
Nice.
So we instead, I got her to agree that we'd get Nora, and then we just say a bunch of random names at her until she reacted to one.
Yep.
And when she did, that would be her name, and this was the name she reacted to.
Ah, so you chose. That is sick.
But that's like the sickest law you could have for naming a dog.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking dope.
There's a dog at my work, and it just drags its ass around, but it's really cute. But it does just slump around the floor. There's some more questions as well. There's does Nora also judge you for regularly playing such long games?
No, she just naps.
Good. And then there's if Nora could play Dota, what heroes and roles would she play?
Oh.
Winter Wyvern Myth.
No, Bane, because she likes to be asleep, I guess.
Oh, I like that. Lifestealer, good impression of that. Trying to think what.
I mean, she actually does how Lifestealer does that two-handed attack thing.
Yeah.
She frequently comes up to me and starts doing that. So
yeah. The razor to her Lifestealer.
A sausage dog Lycan, where he turns into a sausage dog.
That'd be a sick Nora skin. Would
I mean,
be
I have the sausage dog courier.
Yeah, the Nora courier.
I like reference.
That would be pretty good. That would be pretty fire. I've found my questions as well that I wrote. And just quickly, we're probably gonna then do, I'm guessing, games in a minute.
About the games at
we'll do that. Yeah, we'll do that in a minute. We'll do that. I'm quite liking this new structure. This is good.
Just like how he plays Dota, this is gonna be a 4-hour episode.
Yeah.
No, let's be honest. The viewers are here to hear us talk about their games.
Yeah.
But
once we've done that, they're going to leave. So let's do this first.
Yeah, exactly. We're keeping the retention. I'll be interested to see what the retention's like.
You are going to look at the IDL data warehouse before you get to see
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
People need to appreciate how much effort Alex went into in pulling all that fucking data out, right?
Yeah, that is crazy. By hand. There was
that was before Alex and I ran things as well. That was just Alex being a good lad and wanting to help people out.
Who ran it before you?
Maybe it was his vice.
Nelson.
Oh, Nelson. And before Nelson?
Well, I think Illaderp and Nelson kind of overlapped, but Nelson was always, in my mind, the person in charge since I joined back in season 12.
Yeah.
Before that, there was Sam, who owns the server, who I'd never met because he stops in season 11, I think.
Yeah. Okay,
I
fair.
have to ask Nelson.
I don't know if there's someone between. Nelson will be able to give you the history, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, question. I have written out here elo calculation / team balancing. This has been a bit of a topic this week, and I just want to I want your opinions and kind of summarization from the week, because it was a very, very long thread / multiple threads on how the elo works and if spoon should be involved and other things like position in the table. So yeah.
I don't think position in the table, with the greatest love to Edgar, makes much sense in my mind. Like, I'm no statistician or expert or anything like that, and there are people who I'm sure are. But I do, we've been just debating this elo shit for years and what the right way to handle it and so on is.
Yeah.
And at the point when you start giving, flat rewards for table, well, not even rewards, right? That's the first thing to remember. Elo isn't a reward-based system or anything like that. It's one of the reasons why attaching so much like self-worth to your MMR in Dota is a problem, because it's not something that definitionally goes up, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
You can't just assume your MMR or Elo, whatever, is going to go up. It's a reflection of how good you are compared to the other people in the pool. And that's all it's trying to achieve. And there's a bunch of confounding variables. Like, we do have always the confounding issues, right? Where you're on a team of 5 people, is the team balance, right? The initial starting position people are given.
Yeah,
If that's wrong, that's a problem, right? I will note that the main way we get information on where we should place people is the people who vouch them to the league tell us. So I don't love it when what I hear from people a season after their mates joined is, this person's so undervalued, and it's like, you fucking told us where to put them. You don't get to tell us they're undervalued now.
Me winning a season with Chapman.
Undervaluing pick.
Well, it's also it's hard because you're rating people based off how well they play in pubs, and then like the second they're in IDL, they play way better. Like, I have gained like 2,000 MMR since joining IDL.
Oh yeah, like I think IDL really does push people to become better Dota players. I strongly believe that.
So I think basically people are just like, well, this is Ed. When Ed plays fucking Quap off lane in unranked, he's like a fucking legend. So I think Ed's a legend, and then Ed gets added at legend, and because he is legend MMR as well in his like Dota ranker. Then as soon as he's trying, for lack of a better word, Ed is like high ancient div, and I think that's basically what the problem is.
Edska.
Yeah. So like I think
Edska's like way higher than ancient, I think.
Yeah, well, when he joined, like, Dota thought he was Archon.
Oh, hell no.
I had only seen him in pubs, so when I played with Edska, it would genuinely be. I remember this. It's locked in my mind. There was an Abaddon and Legion Commander lane, and he picked Quap Pos 4, and I went, "What are you gonna do then?" Because this was when you couldn't even max the E on Quap. It didn't really do as much. And he went, "Oh, don't worry, Finn. I'll just do nothing." I was like, "Don't worry." Like, we lost the game.
Yeah, like if you finish a certain place in the table, you've already had the elo movement to reflect that, right? Because you've won or lost that many games. I think there is a couple of points I do take, which is if people take the consolation bracket or anything like that less seriously, if there's a general consensus that people are going to take it less seriously, then the competitive integrity of it is lower, and therefore the relevance to elo needs to be lower.
Yeah,
that's certainly true.
I think it's probably an attitude deal. People should just take the spoon seriously. You should play every game.
Well, yeah, and I don't know whether people do or not, right? So, like, I can't just generalize that immediately. I think we have done our best to make people's elos move quicker. So for example, when you first join, you have a higher K factor, which is like the factor at which, like, your elo move, it's like a part of the calculation.
Yeah.
And even as of last season, like GNC still had a somewhat elevated K factor, for example.
Around ages.
Well, exactly. So, I mean, I think we will look at whether we can make it move quicker again for people with higher win rates.
That's
like
what
that.
I was.
Like, the more I look at that, we might also look at moving to a Glico 2-based system or another. Like Nelson suggested recently, this one that was like team, like designed for team games, which
Oh
could be
yeah, I
interesting.
saw that. Yeah.
Again, that's probably a between season conversation though. Ultimately though, it tends not to be the case that small elo movements are going to break the draft, right?
I agree.
7 elo here and there isn't going to kill anything. I think the bigger problem we have right now, which also helps fix a bunch of these things, is so we started with the bottom like 8 players, if it was 8 teams, only having a spread of 50 between them. So like
Okay.
the 8th from bottom player would be set at 50, the bottom player would be set at 0, and then the gap between them and elo would be like artificially
Yeah.
squished, so to speak. Which means if you were just above the 8th player, you would also only be like 57 or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that did, I think, for example, mean that Daggy had a really unfair time because Daggy's elo was more than 50 lower than the 8th lowest person. It was like 200 lower. But they were only getting draft rewards as if it were 50.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
You
Okay.
So
pick,
we
you
have,
pick Lucas at the cost of like a little bit more than Daggy, as opposed to
yeah.
the big gap. Yeah.
And it also means that people just outside that range were probably like, because of how relative intervals work and so on, right? The percentage movement from taking one of those persons was a lot lower than it should be.
Yeah.
So we've been slowly unsquishing that over the last few seasons. We could have moved quicker. I think our hesitance was there was a good reason we initially adopted it, and we wanted like we were still getting pretty well balanced seasons. We didn't want to break anything.
Yeah.
But I think we're at a point where we're probably just gonna pretty much like we'll either completely or pretty much remove that squashing factor for next season, and I think that will give you a dramatic change to how the draft feels to begin with.
Oh, Daggy stonks rising through the roof, right? Like
Right.
other
Like
people at the bottom. There are other people at the bottom. I think Daggy's pretty good. Daggy's Ricky. Scary hero player
no,
combo. Things
but
like that.
I think it's proper, right? We need to reward people, like because there's always this complaint that I think is understandable, right? Where the lower MMR people, lower elo slash MMR people feel like they don't get to play core, and
Yeah.
to a degree, that is a function of a Dota environment, right? Where um, core players in general can have more influence on the tempo and running of a game, more ability to close a game out, things like that. I don't think that's always true, but I think generally that's probably true. It's why Light of Seven almost always got forced to play core, despite his best role clearly being four.
Yeah.
Um, but again, I think getting rid of some of that squashing factor should help with that, because I think you should always be able to get away with having one lower elo core. That should be the situation we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think
you get like 2 immos for it at the moment, right? Like, or an immo and a high divine.
Yeah, and that's fine. You should have those two and then a lower elo player or something like that, right?
Yeah, and you'd have good supports on it. I think I agree. That's
So, I think this will help. I think that's the biggest thing that you're going to see as a change to how the draft feels next season. We can discuss all these changes to how the system should work and that as well. But I think unsquashing that will already have a dramatic impact. I mean, just to illustrate the point, right? If I go to the draft, I think it was Bajan who was the lowest ranked player this season at the start. Again, like that, he's someone who's probably well, that was right at the start of the season, but he's improved quicker than the thing has. Bajan had an elo set at 1005. So his draft score was 0.
Yeah.
Adam then was 1295 and 116. So the gap between them should have been like 290, and instead it's 116. You kind of feel what that squashing effect was, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, or the gap between Daggy and Borky should have been 75, and instead it was 30.
Yeah.
So
I get.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
I think removing that will change the feel of the draft a lot. And as I say, relative gaps change and everything changes quite a bit just off the back of that.
It also does feel like the bottom half of the table is pretty much just like people just pick from the top and then take whatever's left at the bottom. Like they just go next. And so shaking up the way the drafting happens at the bottom, or at least in all the drafts I've seen, it's always been like
Right.
you get to a bit and it's like maybe 1 player, 2 players have gone from the bottom 10, but they're all still there. And then you just round robin the teams and they take the next highest of the lowest. Or pretty similar to.
I think the other thing I will note is there's the perception that certain people are very underrated. Vluppius is one that's brought up time and time again by it's like Vluppius is such a bargain pick, all of that. I think it's great if people feel that way, but do note we have 295 games of data on Vluppius where he's been in that space, and he's got a roughly 50% win rate. 301. Oh, great. Alex has done some updating to it. 301 now, right? Like, let's not get carried away here.
Yeah.
Same thing,
But
even
he
though
actually is in the relative space in about the right place, it seems to suggest.
yeah, Lucas has 215 games, a slightly higher win rate, but like, I mean, does Finn with 67%, like 10% higher win rate and on 90 games?
Right, and Finn is going upwards as a result, going up quite quickly.
Oh,
Finn still hasn't adjusted K factor, I think.
Yeah.
Like, you would expect the K factor in one of these games to be 16, if I remember right. And Finn's K factor right now is more like 17.6. So, he's not moving as fast as, say, Lab is. Lab has a K factor of 22 actually, as of last night. No. Okay, that's a couple of weeks back. But like someone who we're pretty settled on, like Nelson's is like 14 or something.
Yeah. And so Nelson did actually he had a specific thing about how it feels like he has the same win rate as Custard. No, he has like the same amount of games as Custard, but Custard isn't moving, even though Custard keeps winning. And that means that the value of him and Custard remains really equal, even though Custard isn't like just patently, in his words, like a better player now.
Well, I think his point was Custard keeps winning seasons.
Yeah.
But I think, there's a difficulty there, right? Where sometimes people win seasons and then do really terrible in the next season, then win a season, then do really terrible. And if you're bouncing like that, your win rate probably is going to sit about 50%. If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the K modifier column here is slightly different to the one I was talking about, but yeah. Because that's a different calculation again.
Yeah.
You can't really get too much from just looking at that. Again, I'm not I'm not the guy who does the ELO stuff. That is Alex. But yeah, like Custard's actually, I think Custard actually, he calibrated a bit lower than he is. So he has gained ELO, but over those 412 games, he's got a 52% win rate. Apply that to ranked, right? You'll go up a bit. You're not going to go up a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just
that's probably correct.
ELO shouldn't reflect your ability to win seasons. If your games are neutral but you're winning the seasons, that's just being good at the IDL.
Well, that's a debate, right? And Nelson's perspective on this, and I don't think it's an unreasonable one, is maybe we should be trying to use ELO as more of a season result predictor than a game result predictor.
Yeah.
But my worry is then we end up with more dramatically unbalanced games. Well, actually, this season, we've had a pretty bloody balanced season.
Yeah.
In that it's not a season that one team has run away with. Yes, there's 3 teams that have outperformed the rest, but the rest of the pack have performed very close to each other. I mean, like in some cases they've overperformed their ELO. Henry's team has overperformed its ELO. Mel's team overperformed its ELO quite dramatically.
Yeah. No, they were playing really good.
Well, also their total team ELO was something like 600 lower than anyone else's. 400 lower than the next lowest.
Yeah,
which is a lot.
This was a point I was trying to make as well in the chat at some point throughout the thread. Is people are arguing about Custard being rated like, let's say even on an extreme, like 100 points lower than he should be at an extreme, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's differences in the ELO of 100 points. Like if Custard was rated 100 points higher or lower, he could still have the exact same team and perform the exact same way. Like,
I mean, he already has the highest ELO team.
The draft is about this type of.
Yeah.
I will say
it's part of the draft.
The ELO does matter down to the number, because I've spoken to Edgar about it, and if I was 2 ELO higher than him in the way that he was 2 ELO higher than me, we would basically have the opposite teams. He would have my team and I would have his.
That is
he
true.
was going to first pick Edgar, and I just first picked Edgar.
But you can't, you're never going to ever design a system that's going to be accurate to that point, right?
Yeah.
It's never going to be accurate to within 1. That's not conceivable. Heck, I don't think there is a version of things where there is such a thing as accurate to 1 point or something, because people's skill levels do move and change and vary, and people perform well, people perform badly. Heck, that's before you're going to account for the fact you've got to deal with the interpersonal elements of these things. right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna
I'm making a
vibe my
note of
way to
that.
the top of the table. I'm gonna vibe.
Well, yeah, some teams perform well on vibes. Some teams underperform on just like not really. Like my team last season underperformed because we just couldn't quite work out what our process was supposed to be. And
Yeah.
we joint tied for the win in the regular season, but we just couldn't work it out for the playoffs. And other teams had found their way of playing, and we crashed. We lost in the upper, then lost in the lower immediately.
Yeah, I remember.
Happens.
I was being a little bitch at the time.
Yeah.
I've
Nah.
At the time.
been there. I do it every season actually. It's my arc, my season arc. Reset, status quo shifts back to normal at the end, and I start complaining again.
There was also a point made, I think it was by Nelson again. Nelson's had some great ideas this week, which was the roots of the IDL family tree. I think this is such a cool idea. I would love.
I agree. Let's not do it now though, because you can do it with Nelson next week, and he knows everything.
Yeah. Okay, we could do it on stream, but also we could get somebody who's got way more time to do it. Please and thanks, listeners.
I'm down to start trying to do that. That sounds really
okay.
fun.
We can try and do that. Yeah.
Work with Nelson on it, and when Nelson comes on as a guest, that would be a good opportunity to talk it too.
Okay.
Again, to give you the flavor.
Good plan. Yeah.
I was curious if and this is a question for Nelson. I shouldn't actually ask it now, but it's was there less teams in the tournaments? Did it at one point expand out really big?
Oh yeah,
influx of people and then remain at the 8-10 region for a bit?
Yeah. So when I joined was I think, so when I joined we had, how many teams was it? I can't remember. There was 6. It might have been 6, but they weren't teams of 5. My team had 7 players on it.
We had 7 players.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, my team that season was just so good that we made sure everyone sat out sometimes and everyone played sometimes. That's not always been the case.
Yeah.
Some of the other teams that season weren't quite so good at balancing their stuff out. Yeah, so for that season we had 30 players, I think.
JPK's not coming off the bench if I'm on a 7.
By season 17, we certainly had. Did we have 7 teams that season? We had 7. Yeah. So about that time, we were getting to the point where we were getting 7 or 8 teams every season around then.
Yeah, I think it would be really cool to see, to visually see the networks as well.
Yeah,
you ask people who they're friends with as well, who they're closest friends with, if they came in with people, and then it wouldn't just.
So you could have FIFA when you get the green links and the red and orange.
Yeah.
And... See, this is a point as well that was made: is the captains who haven't captained before don't know about which players have good synergy and also which players not to pick on the same team, because people are people that exists. I don't know whether that's...
We try and give advice to people.
Yeah.
And we try and do so as honestly as we can.
There are.
Yeah, I mean, that's just learning, isn't it?
In the draft, there are people help each other out. All the captains will say don't pick them if you've got them and stuff like that.
Yeah, there was a recent draft where I was like, you don't do that, do something else.
Yeah. But these things happen. I think Nelson was a bit worried from next season because Nelson doesn't know a lot of the new players. Which is,
you all hate JPK. Yeah. Don't pick JPK.
Don't pick JPK unless you want to win.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
A bit shameless though, isn't it? You should win with style. Win with Ryan. Why do you keep fighting? Because Ryan could still win season 39.
Peaceful dog.
The peaceful dog. Make it happen.
Yeah.
As well, slightly different topic, but I thought maybe I'd say it on the pod this week because I just did post it in Beale. Next Trap House. Is that something that I can start putting in the works? Because I'd like another Trap House soon because the last one was sick. And Nathan, you weren't at the last one, so we want you to be able to
I want to meet Nathan in real life. I keep getting debated. It keeps not happening at the last second.
This is close, but I can't quite...
Yeah, I can't quite touch him. I wanted to pick me up like Nora. Because I know he's big.
What the fuck?
No, but
he's big in what way?
You probably wouldn't be able to pick me up, but you could probably pick Lucas up like that.
I don't know, who can't?
Me, I'm weak, man.
Oh,
the main takeaway from the gym is that everyone's like, oh, Finn's a pretty big guy, he'll be kind of strong. Wrong! I'm hilariously weak. It's really funny.
Yeah, that's what the gym's for. But you wanted a beach a Trap House. I think that would go hard. It gives you 4 or 5 months to get in unbelievable shape.
I live on the beach, so You know.
I mean, something that I used to do with some mates every year, and I don't know whether we're gonna have to stop this year, is we used to get like a place in Norfolk every summer,
Mm-hmm.
and we would, hang out, hot tub, all that on a Friday night. On the Saturday,
Oh, that sounds
we get a
unbelievable.
boat or two, go out on the Norfolk Broads,
Oh, that's
and
unbelievable.
like just drink while like boating around the Norfolk Broads. Maybe stop at a couple of pubs, stop somewhere for lunch,
Bro,
That's
that's
so,
that kind of thing.
let's make it
okay.
happen. I'm gonna start.
When we were younger, we'd then go out that night and
Oh,
go
we're
into
getting
town.
you
I don't
out,
do that
Nathan.
anymore.
We're getting you out. Best believe. I
That
think
kind of
that's such a
malarkey.
good idea. Like a long weekend spec. Get there on like we did last time. Get there on a Friday night. Then you've got like 2 full days almost combined. Well, 2 nights is the most important thing, I guess. But I
Yeah,
think the trap house worked really well last time, which was
I think it's really good. It was
kind of
really nice.
surprising that it was so smooth. But that's a good suggestion.
And
I
just to be
think.
clear, this is just an open invitation for anyone in IDL who wants to just
Yeah,
join
Yes.
a bunch of
yeah.
people going away for a weekend and hang out.
Yes, that was actually something that
I think some people
was.
missed the message last time,
Yeah, I mean,
and
it was an at everyone in
yeah,
in general, but maybe I should. I don't know. I felt like I was messaging Nathan saying, "Can I put an at everyone in?" I'm too
I think
scared.
the other thing I will flag is we have a bunch of people who are, maybe a little bit shy or not necessarily going to put themselves out there. Just
not
chat
an
to people.
option. You have to come.
No. What I mean
Like,
is chat. Like I don't want anyone feeling like they can't come or like them inviting themselves or any of that shit. Just chat to people and ask.
Yeah.
And
Also,
similarly, you guys or listeners, talk to people,
yeah,
invite them to come along whenever this is getting arranged. Do you want to come to this?
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
it's going to end up being easy for our UK-based contingent,
Mhm.
but
UK #1.
Yeah, but obviously, and we'll do like the same thing with the Birmingham one. Like we'll try and get it near somewhere you can at least fly to cheap or
I mean,
readily available.
the only other thing I would wait to find out is there going to be a Birmingham major this year?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be sick.
Because
That
if
would be
there
sick.
is, then you might want to plan
Birmingham
around that.
Major Trap House would be elite.
That would be unbelievable. We could get the same gaff again. But I would love to have an even bigger.
Can you imagine, Henry? Can you imagine telling? Because Henry has another Discord that people he used to play Dota with before the IDL. He still plays Dota with them sometimes, right? But can you imagine telling them, "No, I'm not sharing a house with you guys. I'm sharing a house with these 20 guys."
20? It's going to be more than that. But yeah, so if anyone, because a few people just missed it and thought, oh, maybe I'm not invited. No, everybody is invited. Everyone,
Yeah.
and even if you're,
We fucking let JPK come.
yeah, I don't know, yeah, but like, I'm sure Joe won't mind me using him as an example with this. Like, Joe's not the most socially comfortable bloke, but like everybody is in that same boat. We're all not socially comfortable, so it was kind of nice to have everybody, like 30 socially awkward people, and it was worked really well, and it was just the best time. And I think everyone will say that it was really chill.
What if I do something embarrassing? What if I embarrass myself from his friends? He
Dodgy.
bought out a GameCube.
Yeah.
Like that's the most embarrassing thing you can do at a party, and he did it.
That's literally older than half of the guys in this conversation.
Yeah,
right now.
exactly. It's just so Max Morelos, and no one cared. It was actually just sick. It was fun seeing everyone play Smash Bros. Drink. We could do like a come dine with me. Everyone.
Oh, that would be unbelievable.
I think you might need to measure your expectations a little bit.
No, we're also all gonna fuck. It's gonna be great.
I mean, you already were this time, Ken. Oh, sorry.
No.
My bad.
Yeah, I should have with Jordan as well.
What the fuck? I don't
right.
know. That's family ties.
Okay.
Kendrick Lamar type
Should we
shit.
talk about the game?
Yes.
Yeah, we are an hour in. Are there any more questions from the question list I need to address?
I have so many questions. Like I almost.
Do you want to just do
Bloody
all
hell.
questions now?
Yeah, we can do some
Yeah, let's
questions
rush
now.
there.
So I'll run through them based on who individual. So yeah, let's start off with unnamed person, anonymous. What's
We're
your
done
favorite?
with that one.
What's your favorite soap smell?
Oh, I don't know. But I do have a scented candle right now that is pina colada flavored. And that's amazing.
Ooh, okay. Next question. What happened to Finn's window?
Nathan, you go.
Nathan, you
I
answer.
realize that's a question for Finn. I thought he got so angry about being denied for the 14th time in lane.
Ooh.
It's a pretty old house, and the window is wasn't the sturdiest, and it takes quite a lot of might to open it. And then I went to close it, and I hit the close with the same amount of might for the open, and like it just went down, and then the glass shattered, and the pane just fell out. And my dad was actually quite close to, and like my dad just turned around and a pane of broken glass landed on him. I will get it fixed at one point, but I've duct taped a piece of cardboard to it, so
I'm sure that'll
Okay,
keep it.
nice.
yeah.
Awesome.
You might be able to tell that the cardboard is coming off. And then there's also like a big plastic DIY attempt at double glazing to make it less cold.
Speaking of glazing, Finn, this is your question.
Yeah.
Why are you the greatest dozer mind in IDL history? In brackets, the last 6
I
months.
genuinely didn't ask this one. I genuinely didn't ask this one. I
Okay,
promise.
somebody's,
hand
somebody's,
to God, someone is out there glazing me. Jordan, probably.
this
No, I'm pretty sure that's a question from me. From you.
Your name if you want, but please.
oh yeah, so,
Yeah, as in,
Oh wait, it says I did it. Who done
yes.
this?
This is what I was kind of scared of, but then I was like, also this is kind of good because
Okay,
I
that's
want
not me.
people to frame people.
let's
Okay,
just
you
move
do this,
on.
please.
Let's move on.
That's
Let's move on to the next question, which is anonymous. I'm looking for an alternative SF to SF mid for upcoming 1v1. Do you think Wraith King is an equally skill testing matchup, as he can snowball last hits into a skeleton advantage?
So, it's interesting that Wraith King mid gets mentioned. Little spoilers when we talk about the games, but I did pick Wraith King mid this season, and it turns out the thing you have to do is go no boots radiance. It's very raw. It's very peak, and then get carried by your team.
Yeah.
The old. But yeah, I think Wraith King would be a great hero for a 1v1 mid matchup because he's got so few abilities.
I think it would be a terrible one. I like the idea behind this, but I think I'll be honest, Finn. I think Lich v Lich could be more interesting because the last hits into eye is turned into mana, right? And I think that gets quite interesting.
Oh, Lich actually has 3 abilities, but Wraith King has 1.
But the
also-
rating one, there's no real kill threat there unless something goes badly wrong.
True.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
think.
yeah. Next question. I'm bored of that. Just like the matchup, Madonna or Tay.
My wife will kill me if I don't say Tay Tay.
Okay.
I
But what's
really
your heart
don't want to
telling
get
you?
your wife angry, but who the fuck is Tay Tay?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor
right?
Swift.
Oh my god. Who's that Nabjek? I know who
See-
that is.
What I'll give Taylor Swift big points for is the number of ways she's reinvented her music style. She went from doing like country to pop to whatever the fuck that you'd call her current style of music, which I don't even bloody understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she's moved through several genres and been very successful in all.
Yeah.
So I think that's impressive.
She did also take a three-mile flight on the fucking airline. Like, that's the one joke that I just see all the time on my Instagram is Taylor Swift's flights like getting tracked on like a flight tracker where it like simulates it, right? And one of them, there are literally 2 airports that is like a 10-minute drive from one another, and she fucking flew. That cracks me up.
Well, I suspect she probably wasn't in the plane. It was the plane being moved to wherever
Probably,
she was.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
But
her
yeah, I don't know if
plane,
that's
yeah.
better.
Yeah.
At Bojo.
At Bojo, yeah, Bojo. When Nathan and Alex eventually grow too old, doesn't happen, to be the rulers of IDL and are forced to abdicate, which of the existing younglings do you hope will be suitable successors to the IDL monarchy?
I mean, I imagine that I will probably stop at the end of this year.
What?
There's a big spoiler.
Oh
I mean,
my
I
god.
need to talk to Alex.
Running or playing?
Running.
You're still
probably.
playing. Oh, please.
Maybe like 6 months into next year or something like that. But there'll be a point where I run out of
Steam.
time and energy for this, I think.
Wow.
Like work is going to be pushing me very hard, and things are just going to get bigger over the next 12 months of work.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's,
very fair.
So
That's a big spoiler.
I guess we'll just be keeping an eye out for who is. I mean, it'll be a vote, right? It's always a public vote.
Yeah.
I say always. Like it was when Alex and I took over. Nelson had just been running it since Kingdom Come before that. So who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows how they did it in the time before time? Yeah. So I guess
Wow.
we'll just
Community
wants
vote.
it. Like,
It
if they don't want to
requires
do it,
it
right.
requires a real separation of personal ego and feelings from what you want to do, and the right way to handle things. And if anything, I think Alex and I are overcautious when we feel like we're personally affected by something, and we never give ourselves the benefit of the doubt. For example, there's a certain person who's definitely abused the whole like, please don't tip people BM in games thing a few times against me.
Listen, that was actually like my team will vouch for me. I was like, yo, that was sick.
I wasn't actually referring to you, Henry.
Oh, okay. Oh, my bad. All right.
Was it me?
No.
Oh, thank God. Oh yeah, I don't play against.
I fucking love a tip in the game. Like against me.
To be
even,
clear,
but-
I think there's a very open.
He loves a tip, ladies
I
and
think we're
gentlemen.
very open to revising the conversation around, like what level of
Banter.
interaction between teams and all that should be. But I think we have to make sure the community's in the right space for that first, because I don't want it driving anyone away.
Yeah.
So I think that's an important thing to check. But we can revise that conversation at some point. But yeah, I think if you're running things, you kind of have to put yourself last and really try and be above reproach where you can.
Yeah.
And I think Alex does a wonderful job of that. I think I do a decent job.
I think you do a wonderful job of it. You don't have to be humble. I think you guys do a really, really good job running this. This is like the best space I've seen, like on the internet, apart from maybe my Discord. But I think my Discord is as well run as this. But like, I mean, like I don't just because that's all my friends in there. Like this is an amazing community, run really well, and like it runs pretty smoothly, and there's no problems. And like, as much as people complain, that's just like the Kaizen mindset of always trying to make everything better. I would happily keep the IDL at this level forever. Don't go, Nathan.
Yeah.
Don't go.
Well, you can step down, just don't leave. Yeah.
If you want. Yeah. Unfortunately, you do have to log on and play 2 games of Beastmaster Mid against me once a year.
What we got next then?
Next question. From Wraith King Enjoyer. Thank you, Finn. What gave you the courage to do something so brave? And will you get Semmel to agree to a gentleman's agreement to let Wraith King through in our series this week?
I'm gonna go. I didn't even push for Wraith King Mid. Everyone's like, "This is the podcast, right?" It was Kiwi who was like, "I think it would be so funny." Correct, based. And then Semmel was like, "I actually think it's a good hero here," because like the other options were pick me my Titan, which was insanely countered by Shadow Demon, or Techies, who's shit. And then it was like, well, I guess it's Wraith King then. And I have played Wraith King Mid in the IDL before. This was not my first time.
It's weird how you just end up with no actual mid lane heroes that could be picked in that situation, isn't it? I don't know how that happened.
It's like, I see mid laners in a pool against Nathan, and I'm like, well, I'm bad at those. I'm just gonna get real weird with it. Oh, it was so funny.
I think we can probably skip over the rest of these questions.
I like the. How does it feel to be so stinky and unwashed?
How to win mid in rank. Yeah. Sorry, Racing Enjoyer, but we don't have time. We haven't even got to the games.
Yeah,
yet.
sorry. We're gonna have to skip over those ones. Next one's from QC. QC has not, I don't believe, commented yet on one of the podcasts. So, hi QC, welcome. Thanks for your question. We already had the Nora question. Question 2. Now that Wisdom Runes have become garden sculptures, do you have a suggestion for a quirky name for them?
I'm not that creative.
Finn?
I'm not even joking, and I think it's because I need a piss. I was just thinking piss fountain, piss. Okay. I think I just need a piss.
Piss fountain.
I don't think that gets quirky name, but go on.
Yeah.
Piss fountain. Okay. Is there anything in the changes from the latest major patch that has influenced you on what you prioritize or how you evaluate players and their skill sets ahead of the player draft for next season? That's a deep question.
Depends which patch, right? 'Cause if it's a patch from yesterday,
no, I think
anyone who relies too much. If anyone who relies too much on Dota Pro Tracker, are going to struggle. QC, he's going to have the best time.
Yeah.
No one can tell him what's meta anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, we'll find a way, but
in my first ranked game after Dota Pro Tracker went down, the enemy supports were Slardar, Nature's Prophet, and I was like, "Oh my god, they're cooked. They don't know what to pick. They're so lost."
Yeah, I don't want to say too much on that. I think I'm just looking forward to the next season draft. I mean, it being captain's mode will be interesting enough.
Are you going to captain next season? Either of you?
I will if I'm, if I don't have enough volunteers.
I don't think I will because I don't like how high my elo is. Because if I captain, I'll just be picking last. Like almost definitely next season. I just don't want to pick last.
Let's keep rolling.
Sorry, Semmel, but no, I'm joking. I would happily first pick Semmel. He's great. But
who's your favorite teammate to play with?
Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of people I like playing with in IDL. I mean, I love playing with Sabata though. I'll say that. I think he's great.
Yep.
So
Finn?
I took a screenshot of my teammates. You can search by on strats. You can search by like practice games, which is the thing it counts IDL games, and then like my most successful teammates, and basically anyone from that list I love playing with. So it's Jordan, Josh, JPK, Jabba, and Hmarga. But I think just based on the amount we've played together now, it's got to be Butterbeans. We've played 50 IDL matches together with a 77% win rate.
Oh my
god. We just win almost every game. There's something about the like I come into lane with the cartoonish nervousness, like, oh, I don't know, Josh, you're going up a bit far, and he just aura farms me the entire lane, harasses down to like 1/5 HP, and just leaves every time completely fine, and that's just such a fun dynamic to see over and over again. You'll go for a kill, and you're like, oh, I don't know if we're gonna reach them, and Josh is like well behind them because he was just off doing some random shit. He's so fun to play with.
Yep. Hell yeah. Next question. Favorite IDL moment?
Mine will always be, I was playing mid-troll, I think, in the grand finals of an IDL game. I was down in the bot lane doing, my shenanigans. Their carry and mid came to gank me. And I ulted and got a first hit root on the mid, who was a Queen of Pain. Killed that. Then went onto their carry, which was an Arc Ward, and killed that. Then their supports all started TPing in. Killed 2 of them. And as I was about to finish the Rampage team wipe from them going on me, QC pops up and takes the kill.
Nice.
He's a hero. He's a hero.
What, yeah, the people's person. Nice. Finn, for you on that one?
I think it'll have to be something from the NHS season. I think there was a game. I can't even remember the exact thing, but we were like behind.
No, wasn't it this last week?
No,
Oh.
we were like behind in a game ish, but we managed to sneak a Roche, and then they knew we were doing the Roche because it did the shout, and I had watched enough of Matt's games, and I went, Matt is here. Pinged on the map, started the TP before my team finished Roche, so it wouldn't, because I knew when Roche popped, Matt would TP back. He'd be like, go to the high ground. I TP and blind blink stun him. I blink call him on Axe, blind, and I went, you're an open book to the team. I went, you're an open book, Matt. I rush you. And they all finish Roche TP, get the kill, and then we just instantly end off the high ground push. That shit made me feel like a fucking genius. Like, it's just 'cause I'd been shamelessly watching Matt replays.
Nice.
That was
awesome.
pretty fun. And then Lichmid.
Next question. Quick. Someone said, incognito person says, hello there, Nathan. Do you think
Elo there, Nathan.
Elo there, Nathan. Do you think we should switch to imp as a better metric of measuring the skill?
All right, let's move on to the next question.
Next question. Would you beat Daggy 1v1 mid if you were playing Lion and they were playing Riki?
I don't know about beat.
Would you be dodging into the match?
Wouldn't die that early.
Or that often.
Yeah. I don't know about win though. Like, I think Daggy plays that hero very well.
Yeah, and I will say it's going to sound like massive cope, but that is a really hard matchup for Lion.
Oh
like,
yeah,
way harder than you think. No, you think it's not going to be so bad, and then you just hypothetically speaking die instantly to everything.
I was watching some Koi for mid Lion though, and it looked great. So
yeah.
Maybe you'll catch me playing it sometime.
He's been studying someone's VODs. Now that there's no pro tracker, you've got to go to.
So this is Pete, okay, or is it JJ?
Tony Blair says, "Do you ever talk about IDL with your wife?"
Yes.
Yes. In what way?
How I'm feeling, like what's going on, like in terms of people. Like talking about the game's not really a thing, but talking about people and feelings and so on is. I mean, talking about obviously the decision we had to make recently, I've been talking to her about a couple of weeks before that, about how to handle that, and Oh, and that last point is very nice.
Do you have any idea how much you mean to all of us? We all love you, Nathan. Ah.
Yeah, I wish I wrote that, but I didn't.
Yeah.
No, I really.
All right, let's keep moving because we're
Nathan,
we're on time.
Let's just take a moment of pause silence.
Yeah, just like
respect.
No,
respect
really.
for Nathan. Yeah, thank you, Nathan. Next question
from
Matt.
Matt. Ask me if I talk IDL with my wife.
This is. Hold on, I've got a feeling this might not be Matt. Are we allowed to get Jesus Christ on Cameo? It might be Matt actually. Are we allowed to get Jesus Christ on Cameo to introduce the next season's draft? We could.
And then he asks the same question again. But
are we allowed to get Jesus Christ on Cameo to introduce next season's draft? Should I be disqualified from asking more questions?
You can do what you like if you're hosting the draft.
Yeah. Nice. And Chrissy Takivi for the last questions. IDL is very successful. 39 seasons. Applause. Why do you think you've achieved this?
I mean, I haven't achieved it. Alex and I have only been running it for about 9 seasons or something. I can't remember when we started exactly. But I think it's just community, isn't it? Community makes it work.
Community, in it, bro.
And that's why keeping the community working the right way is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And
And you're
Yeah.
doing that. I think you've done a great job. I think.
We will continue to think about that. But I think that's a point for everyone, right? I think at any point where you start to think about this primarily as a competitive thing or not getting along with people or anything like that, it's time to take a break
Yeah.
because
Agreed.
this does not exist. Like it's a competitive outlet, right? And everyone like having competitive outlet is important. I really need that.
Mm,
But
Yeah.
if you start focusing on that and you lose the community and the fact that you're meant to get along with people and enjoy yourself, even when you're losing, like you don't always enjoy a loss. You can't always enjoy a
Yeah.
loss, right? But you know, you got to keep that camaraderie going. And if you can't,
Yeah.
then you got to have a think about
I
how you do that.
I really like it when, and this is most of the time because I'm friends with most people in here now, but when I've got like a bunch of friends on the enemy team, every loss is still bittersweet because they got to win. I think that's just like because like the community really helps.
That's too fucking
I,
soppy.
no,
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 I kind of feel the same thing, to be fair.
I genuinely was talking to Henry the other day, and I was like, I would really, really like to see you win, Henry. I just want to see Ryan win more.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I want to win, but like, it would be cool for any of us from the D&M team to get back-to-back wins, and it's looking like it might probably happen. And so I was like, that's gonna be sick. I hope it's me or you, Henry. It's just,
Yeah.
and then Custard, and then okay.
Next question. Go down memory lane and share some old memories from seasons past.
I mean, I've covered one. I think
do,
we
yeah.
actually covered a lot of that in today's thing anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And noting we're an hour and 20 minutes in, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Like a log one,
Next,
folks.
next question.
It's so
When do we
deep.
get IDL merch? This is such a good question. This is such a good question. If anyone listening wants to do some IDL merch, Jace, best artist in the league, I would definitely buy some.
I wonder whether we have a bunch of the old logos somewhere with a bunch of the different teams that have won the season's IDL logos on them.
Oh, dude.
That would be
Because
sick.
you could have kind of like a Hall of Fame
Hall of Fame
almost.
T-shirt,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, or you could get player jerseys. Come
Bro,
on.
that would actually be wild. That would be sick, player jersey. But if somebody does want to do merch, then I'll definitely help coordinate something in terms of getting it printed somehow.
Yeah, I think we should get season-winning rings.
Gauntlets. Well, I
I
could
want my
3D print
season
some
39
trophies. That'd
ring.
be cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what do you think, Nathan?
I mean, people, like, it's not something we're going to organize centrally, but if someone wants to organize it, they can.
Yep.
I think it could be cool.
I mean, if you
I
want
mean,
to do it,
like,
Chrissy, you can.
And a nice answer might as well be to look at. You can get those kind of like things where you like can put a logo or something like that onto an existing hoodie or something like that you've got.
Yeah.
That might be quite an easy way to do it.
Yeah.
Yup.
And it means that because if you order just like a custom one with the logo on, it's going to be trash quality.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know this life. I've ordered joke shirts before. They're very good, but
Agreed.
Yeah.
So if
they
somebody
last
does,
two washes.
if somebody does fancy that, then yeah, because it
Yeah,
might be
go
cheaper.
for
Like
it.
if like 20 people want an IDL hoodie, bulk ordering 20 hoodies is way cheaper than.
We should do like a countdown teapot.
You don't need to wait for us, is what I'm saying. You know, people go ahead and do it. It's good ideas. If you have
Yeah,
good
it's a great
ideas,
idea.
do them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Okay, that's the questions over. So now let's
We
hop.
successfully put this off for a
It's
fucking
been
long while.
1
This
hour
is
and
awesome.
12 minutes already. Sorry, Nathan.
22. Oh,
I-
yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna be rushing us through the second game.
So let's start with this then. First game, which was Gukru against Gamers Gaming. So take us through this one.
So we looked at the draft and we saw their underlord that they had been sending mid, and I sort of made the assumption that Matt would be like, it's not worth going mid into Finn because Finn is not going to punish a lower elo player. Like so I assumed that Matt would like want to send Daggy mid on, I think Bane might have been in the pool as well, or the underlord. So it's like,
I mean,
if I
or Tide, right? Which
or
is what
Tide,
I
yeah.
am for playing.
And so it's like, if I yoink the underlord, because Josh is just an amazing underlord player. I've never seen someone make underlord look like Josh does.
Yeah.
Like, other people can play it in that really boring, like what's it called, auras, and just win the lane no matter what. But Josh has this tendency to also hit these insane ults that, like, you know, just like they amp up the game's tempo instead of slowing it down, which I think Underlord usually does with just defending the base. Anyway, but I picked the Underlord and I was like, we're gonna probably have this in the offlane. Like, and then it got to the last second when it was my pick, and it was like the only Finn hero in the pool is Legion. I don't want to play Legion into wind range at all. And I went, oh wait, what these guys do is they just send Daggy mid on the Underlord. And I was like, I could just send Josh mid on the Underlord. And I did, and then quite remember this for 5 seconds of it. Quite pointedly, Matt typed all caps in the all chat, "Dodging me," which it gave me a lot of joy in the offlane, and then we did really well.
We'll talk
in the
about dodging in the second game.
yeah,
And they just struggled a bit looking at this to have strong post lane transitioning. I think fair to say they've got quite a bit of team fight, but their damage is very low early on, unless the wind major is there.
Yeah.
Right, and at that point they're only killing 1 or 2 heroes, even with all of their ults.
Matt's your big flashy player, and he's on a Wind Ranger into a Bloodseeker. It's like it makes it a lot harder.
And into duel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and we destroyed bot lane. Like it was, it was like it says there stop. It was just like, it was really close. And then I don't think Ari had seen how stupid Leshrac is right now because he walked past the creep wave and died in half a second. And then after that, we just killed them on repeat. And I got a blink dagger fast enough that like I could just take over the game before anything could happen.
Yep. Nice.
And Ryan apparently did crazy. I mean, look at him. Oh, love that guy.
That is. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, go on then. Has it broken this week? Well, we'll see. We're about to look at all the games. We'll see. Keep 26 in your mind.
Okay, I want to keep that up. That's
26 and 19 for the supports there.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's definitely. Shit. Well, that's definitely March the 10th.
Is Henry in it again? 26, 19, 18. Okay. Yeah, and then you've got the mid Ricky.
Wait, hold on. But this one
did work. Yeah. So.
It's fine.
We'll get to it.
Let's keep going.
Yeah.
So
this one.
I'm
not proud of. There are many things.
So it says that mid lane was a stomp. I mean, I think without let's be honest. Everyone has seen the clip at this point. I don't really think we need to cover the clip again.
Yep.
But I do know that Henry's got the clip ready to go.
I actually don't have the clip ready to go because I can't go on Discord.
It's in the GIF. I just pan it in the GIF panel. I mean, can't I just bung it in?
You've got to put it in the chat because I can't leave out.
Yeah, JPK very helpfully made a GIF of. So the reason I typed dodgin is because I was trying to emulate Matt because I was like, well, when I didn't go.
It's the way you turn around these times, though.
When I didn't
the way
go
you walk over and then turn around.
That was crazy.
He gained so much aura. Yeah, I lasting. I'm just straight up lasting. Like there's not a Ricky there.
Was Earth Spike off on cooldown here or something?
Yeah, I think so. I think it must have been. Otherwise, I would have used it.
Because do
I turn around to cast it? No, I think I do have mana. I think I used it to get a melee creep.
Hell.
Yeah, I also died like 4 other times into Daggy in this lane. And then ultimately, I think it was Tormentor.
And they win the side lanes as well, don't they?
Yeah, I think it was flopped fights on the Tormentor. Like there was a couple where we were already set up, and so they were bringing like everyone through the game.
Go back to the game summary now. Is that right? Because you can kind of see. I imagine that's probably what happened about 30 minutes or something.
Yeah.
With the but I mean, even then, they still have a big lead. They have a pretty good draft against you, if I'm honest. I think their draft plays this quite nicely. And they take 2 lanes of Rex. Or, well, 1.5. But what happens? I mean, Jabba's popping off looking at this.
So yeah, Jasper was getting a lot of like funny kills and stuff that you couldn't see coming. I was like prioritizing my entire team fight to make Rolling Thunder come out as late as possible, and then I think a lot of it was just Ari wasn't having the best game, and then nothing could stand up to the Luna because Ari wasn't having the best game, and then like Luna reached the butterfly just before the Ari reached any item to deal with the butterfly, and then it was even longer where these fights would happen, and it would just be no one able to kill Luna, and then just the lockdown we had, and we did a couple of really like we were keeping track of where the enemies were because we had a bit of a warding advantage because Ryan's warding this series was insane, but like we saw a couple of times where it was like, well, Matt's pushing this lane out alone because he wants it pushed in, and we smoked out and we caught him and like stuff like that, and I can't even remember. I think it was just like Ed popped the fuck off, and then
Jasper was
eventually
also a
Lion.
pest this game. Like,
Yeah.
played so well. It
Oh,
was
they
like
all
having
played
another
so
carry.
well. I mean, like, Jasper made up for our mid laner. Like, I was just a support. I was an extra support. I went Blink Ghost Scepter or something. Like, Blink Ghost Scepter 4 stuff from mid, which you probably shouldn't ever do. But they were all physical damage as well. So it was it was kind of the case that if
Great
we
ghost
built
of the
enough,
game, yeah.
yeah, if we built enough armor, we just didn't care about them. And so like if you, I don't know if you can see the items, but everybody's item builds were just prioring resisting physical damage, and so
Whoops. Sorry. Oh yeah, I can't
yeah,
get
Ed
all that
goes
button.
to the thing. I go for an Josh gets a assault cuirass and a mech.
AC, Pike.
Lotus,
Yeah,
That's
Lotus,
just trying to,
Ghost.
Ghost Scepter.
Yeah.
and all of the neutral items were taking tough, and they just couldn't quite push. And I think the real thing here is that Ricky is not a very good hero, and their whole team was shit at high ground. Your best pusher there is Pangolier, and if you they just couldn't push fast enough to extol an advantage before it reached a point where our team fights were fine. And yeah,
Yep.
one of the funner ones to play. And I will say there was like a sheepish nervousness to my team. Nobody wanted to acknowledge that I was losing mid really, really bad. I was going, guys, I'm getting owned by Daggy, and they were losing their lanes and probably just thinking, well, we fucked this one up then. But like,
In there.
yeah.
Yep. Okay, no. Next series was BCF versus Zerxwag. This was pretty big for the standings because the team that, if a team 2-0'd this one, it would have meant that they were really likely to go up into the, or more likely, / had a better chance of going up into the 4th place spot. First game was, I can't remember the draft order, but
They last picked Dark Warden, I think.
yeah, they did last week pick Arc Warden. So we thought this was a pretty bad Arc Warden game because it was at the start. But as the draft went through, we were like, actually, this is kind of stacking up to be an okay Arc Warden game, even though Arc Warden is stinky. But Charlie didn't really want to play Phoenix, and I was like, I'll play Phoenix. And then the way that it just kind of worked out, I was like, we were just like, can we put Henry mid on Phoenix? And I was like, yeah, it'll do. And then turned out that Phoenix just fucking busted in mid lane. There was nothing that Jordan could do, and every single rune you can just sweep up. Like, I didn't even think about that going into the mid lane because I don't play mid very much. But I got in there and I was like, wait a minute, Jordan's going towards this rune. I'm just gonna Q on the rune, and then it was like every time I got the rune, and I could just put so many fire spirits. So it's a bit unfortunate. And then we just kind of slow pressed the game. Higgsy played really well on this Wraith King. Charlie played really, really well on the Bristle. Supports did all they need. Like, and this Faceless Void just couldn't get into the game. So that was pretty much it.
Yeah, it looks relatively straightforward, right? In terms of if you look at the end map, you look at the graph.
Yep, it was just a pace.
Like they really struggled to get much of a foothold.
Yeah, it really was. Like, you have Arc Warden and Faceless Void, 2 heroes that are just need a bit more time, I think, and we just pressed with, like, I mean, look at this fucking team.
2 heroes that kind of fucking suck as well.
Yeah. And
I mean, I think by win rate, Rating is one of the better carries of the patch, and although not a carry, and Weaver is pretty up there too. Like, you scale harder too with these heroes almost.
Yep. Second game was the complete opposite. It was literally the complete. It was like a carbon copy of what happened. Like, they just did the exact same thing we did to them. It was a slow press. I mean, look at the graphs. Like, they're just the same graph, but one's a bit more later.
Oh, to be fair, there's a 25 there on that Bane.
Yeah, Jay. And I mean, he's been openly saying this, and the team that he's playing, I'm subbing against, so he knows this, has just been saying, it's all going to be fine as long as I keep getting Bane. He's like, the IDL's fine as long as I keep getting Bane, because I think he's picked it 2 or 3 times now, and Jay is very good at winning lanes, and Bane is very good at winning lanes, and you put the two of them together, and it's like, you come in with the notion of like, oh, this shouldn't be too bad because it's Sean, which is wrong, right? Sean is very good at winning lanes, but then like you get there and this Bane can like handily 2v1 a lane, and then it's just you just lose. You lose the lane really hard, and you lose.
JJ's so good at Bane as well. So this one MVP did actually work on this, except we're gonna have to go back quickly for MVP. But yeah, this was just really well played. Sean played so clean as well. I mean, Pete didn't even die. Like, everybody just played so clean. Cussed on the Spirit
Did Pete buy an early BKB then on the?
He went Radiant straight away, and it was just, we couldn't do anything.
BKB.
It was
He has the Night Stalker.
yeah.
I guess
I'm
you guys
ass
just
at
kinda
Night
like
Stalker.
damage.
Yeah.
You guys have damage problems here again. I think I see this quite a bit in CD. Like, I'm much better at analyzing CD drafts. Like, once I can see all the heroes than I am at drafting in it. I think.
Yeah.
I thought
Like,
that was your that was my takeaway of your last draft, Henry. In the game you played, you just didn't take enough damage. In the one you played against Nathan. That's spoilers for the future, but
Yeah, well, that's fine. We're doing spoilers now, kind of, ish,
yeah,
next season. But
we'll figure it out.
yeah, this was also like not really a comfort on me at all, and I just sold the game. Like I didn't do any. I had zero impact. Like this is 34 is generous. I was the LVP this game, which yeah, it is what it is.
which
Anyway,
you were, yeah.
yeah. Next
Oh, dear.
game was.
Ah, it's beautiful.
You guys can
Take me
both
home.
take over here.
So
Yeah, I mean, it's a good game, though. I thought.
yeah, sometimes
Kind of.
the heroes, like in the hero pool that Captain's Draft selects, none of them are mids. And when that happens, I shine. It's I'll just play. I don't play mid, and so I just played a very rich lich support from mid lane. I mean, what's your takeaway? It was all
Yeah, I
mid,
mean,
obviously.
yeah, like Invoker's not my hero. You know, I hadn't really played it in like 2 years before this or something like that, 2 or 3 years. And Invoker's changed several times since then. But I mean, like the fundamentals of how the spells work are the same. I don't have any of the timings down really or anything like that. But I mean, the lane was fine. I think I came up mildly ahead or something. But
It
like,
says draw there,
it's
mate. It says draw to me.
yeah,
Oh, no, but yeah, I think
yeah. I think I came up mildly ahead, but I think
you
we're
you
talking pretty
obviously did
insignificant
more.
amounts.
You did a lot more on the side lanes than me.
Well, I did a Sunstriker too, I think, yeah.
Yeah,
And then I
yeah.
went top and Christy killed me or something like that.
I was like unsure because I'm my usual position is I psych myself up in an IDL game and stress myself up into thinking that I have to do so much to win that like I worry if I'm
Yeah.
having a sort of neutral or bad game. But like and then occasionally I'll start to realize as the game goes like, oh, my side lanes are going pretty good. And in this one, although it says it's a draw there, they were like saying they were winning bot. So I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
I think our lanes were very rough.
And then and
And
then
the side lanes.
Anna Wyvern is just so good.
Mm.
Like it's really like when they put the cold embrace on people, there's like there's a lot more artistry to it than you realize. Because if you like leave it just a little bit later than you think you would, you force so many more people in because everyone turns to hit that guy because they're like, low, we'll get this guy first, and then you put the wins cost, and like so many times in this game, someone on my team would get to like about 1/5 HP and then be witness cursed dead.
And you guys were quite careful at not cold embracing in place I had obvious vision as well in the laning phase. Because I kept
Yeah,
looking for Sunstrikes on them.
they were talking about
Wasn't
that.
happening.
And
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we had I think we messed up the draft a little bit here because, I mean, if you have two bad side lanes, then you've messed something up in the draft. I think,
yeah.
Yep.
I think we've probably over prioritized at least one of the Dawn and the Abba, I think.
Yeah, and the double melee happens as well.
Yeah, I mean, we probably should have just moved the Wyvern way up the priority list for us. I don't know if it was, I think we could have first
Yeah,
picked it. I think
it
we had
was
first
like
pick,
it
yeah.
made it to the it made it to the third round of picks and we were or second round of picks and we were like
Yeah.
oh we were like we were debating which hero to pick and I was like oh no we just have to pick Wyvern. Nathan will own me on Wyvern mid like and then I was like aren't you really good at Wyvern and Hannah was like sheepishly like oh I'm alright at Wyvern and I was like no you're a fucking shit hot Wyvern player relax just play the Wyvern and they popped off and they did loads and
I think after that, like we had one or two okay fights. There was the very funny Semel death to Cataclysm in the Roche pit,
oh
but it
that's
was
so
all
funny.
one way traffic.
Yeah. I thought about four staffing him, but I thought it would be too patronizing to be like, oh, Semel can't dodge his own cataclysm. I'll four staff him. I pressed
I
the four staff
think
button.
I
What?
think he did dodge his Cataclysm. I think because he's trying to leave the pit. There were a bunch of you in it, right? As he's trying to leave the pit, he
Oh,
goes into another Cataclysm,
and
like
okay.
because it's just a pit full of Cataclysm.
I thought he said like a pathing issue happened and he just stood completely still. And I was like, you can't aura farm and chin the Cataclysm Semel. And he's like, yeah, I know. Like, we were all laughing a bit because we thought the game was
Yeah.
still fine. I had to take the Aegis. But all I could think of was that one gif of the baby from Pompeii, like the one who's got his hands up like that and he suddenly turns to ash. Like, it is all I could think of is like Semel's reaction to Cataclysm. It was so funny. But yeah, I got my
Yeah.
phylactery and then immediately got a triple kill as well, and that like made my game because I was having a pretty
Mm.
neutral normal game, and I got my phylactery and just walked onto someone had a really good ward down. I think it's probably Goldrian, and we just got like a triple kill because people didn't jump me straight. Like I think they should have just been like, oh, this is only a lich, but they were like, oh, it's the mid laner, and so I just got ignored at the side of a team fight, and I got 3 phylactery Qs off and just wore people down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, game one.
Smooth. Oh,
And
masterful.
The beautiful zero imp. You can't teach it.
Zero mid-ranking,
I
highest
did.
score, by the way.
This is like I said it though. This is like, I mean, I did nothing this game. I did what Wraith King does. I passively farmed a Radiance and then just walked at people, and it worked, which means my team won me the game. But like,
Yeah, I didn't really have anything again to pick here, but Night Stalker was generally good in the pool. And I think the way this ran, and I think you'll probably agree, right? Like, I was pretty cooking mid. I
oh
was
yeah,
decently ahead. Like,
and you got
Void,
like
it
4
turns out, is
kills
just.
from all the side lanes.
Well, yeah, and then I started rotating around and got a bunch of. Like, I went top and killed Chrissy once or twice. Like, just as I hit level 6, an Arcane Rune spawned top, and I just immediately took that.
And then you got the Wisdom Rune as well on that same gank.
Yeah,
You can
exactly.
do
Yeah, it was a
anything
very
like
nice
that.
movement.
It was really good.
But I probably actually should have gone bottom and killed Semmel.
Yeah, they were getting a lot of kills out of that bot lane. I kind of
Yeah.
thought it would be harder, but then I think Disruptor really fucks Primal Beast's plan completely for lane. Like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
sends
I
him
thought it was going
away.
to be better, and I feel
And
like I put
then
Adam in a tough spot there.
again, Hannah was Omega cooking. So they had an observer ward behind the T1. I don't know when they got it
Yeah.
up, but they were glimpsing every death back. And so, like, that's just scale. Like, compounds is an issue, and your lane just gets hard because you're, like,
Yeah.
essentially 2 deaths behind.
There was one point I eventually had to go and kill Hannah for doing that, but yes, it was,
Yeah.
yeah. Again,
And, like,
it was rough, and I felt very ahead, and then suddenly I felt like I had no impact.
yeah. I felt very, very behind, and suddenly it felt like all I had to do was walk and click the closest hero. And then
Yeah, you see, I'm
also,
6-0 and 2.
Here, look, you're
I
very
won.
ahead
At the
on
game,
the impact, and
Yeah.
then very quickly it
Yeah, I
within
end the game like
5 minutes.
Wait, no,
6-3.
look at my imp while you look at Nathan's imp while you do that. With that same
Oh
period. 'Cause
shit!
it goes from like 4 to like plus 26.
Yeah.
Kiwi played really well considering you guys had to just beeline for Kiwi at the start of every fight, and it just made the
Yeah.
fight really, really easy for us because it was like no pressure on anyone else at all. And even if you got Kiwi, you were using Night Stalker ult plus 2 BKBs, and then you just didn't have enough wave clear to deal with all of our ads, which we didn't even
No, for sure.
intend to do.
Mm.
It was kind of just like, oh, Sem was like, I think Prophet's my best +1 here, and we were like, Kiwi, do you want to play Enigma because it's like the best dig into Lifestealer here? And they were like, I think I can probably do it. You can do it. We can do it. And then the skeletons.
And it means you also have the thing that shuts down the Sabata Gyro, and that Sabata Gyro is normally absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
Right. But with that many random ads around, you just can't get the rocket barrage damage off.
Yeah, it was an unintentional thing, and I only realized it at like we went to push a T2 and we just got it in like 5 seconds, and I was like, oh, we've picked like a disgusting zoo draft. I didn't even realize. And like there was not the foresight of like, oh, we're gonna have so many ads they can't deal with, but then it did just happen like that, and yeah, some cookery again. I do feel that this is a well-deserved 0 imp. I didn't do anything.
That's... yeah, but that means
moral victory.
We can't trust the imp scores there, because it means that Chrissy and Sam will get negative imp when I thought they were great games, as you say.
True.
Next series was yeah, it was the
Andrew JPK sub.
Yeah, Andrew JPK sub. So this one was interesting. So it seemed like during the game the net worth chart was like JPK was up there, but just hanging on until like this was the reason for like the game kind of went so long, is because Joe's net worth was really good and he was doing some stuff, and this DP and like QC was cooking on AA as well.
Yeah.
Like causing some
QC's
serious problems.
I don't think I learned in the one game we lost against Rip and Different was like QCAA, and I never played into the Glepnir Octarine, and I genuinely was like the gif of fucking Daddy DeVito, like, oh my god, I get it. I had a QC come to Jesus moment because I could not do anything. The second one cold feet ended, another one started, and I couldn't outrun them because I was getting Glepnir and slowed, and it just and like it wasn't obvious straight away, but after like the 4th consecutive cold feet that I didn't want to BKB off, I was like, okay, QC's won them the game. I literally can't do it.
Let's be clear. It shouldn't work. It doesn't work. If I do it, it wouldn't work. Yeah. But it's QC, so this kind of nonsense does. The man is a chef.
It's. I don't know if you played into it, Henry, but it is. So, are you looking at the team of the week? You look confused in real life.
No.
I saw a window open for a second. You dragged it to the other monitor, and then you were like, "Oh!" Like you got really confused. He's so confused.
You know, Hemi, I might have to uninvite you from the IDO data build-out plan.
Bro, I fixed it. I fixed it, but I don't know why.
Why does Henry have 30 million fantasy points? You look at
Bro.
Henry's code.
Let's ignore any of this. Okay,
Alrighty.
yeah. Last. Yes! Yes! It
What?
works. It fixed
He's
itself.
very happy
That's
at how
all.
well JPK did this game.
Wait.
Well, Edgar had to play a Midnight Stalker
Wait,
as well.
So was there another imp above 18? Because that's 25 for a support, but the 18 for a support was already. Oh, there's a 25 there. So there's two 25s.
Yeah.
Okay, let's cover the game. Wow, this was a short game. Yeah, mid JPK
Wasn't there a
TV.
26 earlier on as well?
Yeah.
We'll
might
cover
be
that
fine.
in a minute.
In your series, I think. Wasn't there?
Oh. Well, we'll look at it. Right, this game. Yeah, I remember
So you
after
had this classic Midnight Stalker versus mid Terrorblade matchup.
this.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can find a screenshot because I think JPK
I
messaged me.
presume the plan was for the Pudge to go mid originally.
Yeah. That
Oh,
was
but
the
the
plan.
Pudge was the
No.
Pudge ended up
Oh, wait.
safe lane.
Wait, yeah, the Pudge was safe lane. But Joe and Custard were like, they just picked the Pudge because it's a Custard hero. But then also they were like,
Yeah.
fuck it, we're just going to pick TB and Joe will run it mid. I think that was just how, like, it was just based on
Oh,
vibes.
right.
It was pure vibes.
But I mean, like Dev's popped off here as well.
Yeah, Dev, like, I think it was just everybody popping off.
Radiant Stomp, Dev and QC absolutely
Yeah.
nailed it into.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't.
that would make sense.
Slark DP, that doesn't feel a good lane.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this was I mean, there's 3 MVPs in this team. Well, quote unquote MVPs, because I feel like now we've covered the games I can bring up the IDL the
Yeah.
team of the week. So ignore what I sent you guys. The new
Okay.
ones I'm sending you guys. In fact, fuck it, I'll just have it on the in fact I'll put it in the chat, but whoops. So here is team of the week. So first of all, we have Dev on that game. So 25 imp.
Mhm.
25 imp on that game. That seems like Dev should be MVP because 25 is one of the highest. We then had 25 on me, which let me just make sure I'm at the
Typical.
end of all the games.
Another H-Mogger team of the week card.
Can you do? I am imp. Okay, so we
Ever
had...
since I found out that includes your rank in its calculation,
Does
it's
it?
made a lot more sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I love imp. I'm staying on.
It makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
You're staying winning on it because you are playing really well. Like, obviously 5060 is
Thanks.
good, but I get 506. I go 8023 on Wraith King and it's like 0. Like it's not.
Okay.
I play the greatest mid-wyvern seen in history, and I get a minus 30.
Yeah, negative
Yeah.
30. You do need to modulus that score because that's generally meant to be a plus 30.
Yeah, we had a JPK mid TB card, 20 imp, and we had JJ 25 Bane, 25 imp,
Yeah.
and QC Bounty Hunter 25 imp. This is
One
wrong,
of these shouldn't be there.
but I
Because
don't know
Ryan
why.
should be there with a 26.
Yes, this is what I just thought, but then
Oh.
maybe if I run it some more, it'll make Ryan. No, come on, you
It shouldn't
need
do
to make-
different things.
Wait!
I guarantee you it shouldn't do different
Wait.
things.
That is not how
It
scripts
definitely
work.
do the same
Is
thing.
Ryan
Have I
here?
run this another 5 times?
Is Ryan here?
If you've been robbing Ryan of Team of the Week cards, there will
No,
be.
he is there. He's there.
Oh, he is here. Then I have no idea why this is not working.
Henry, OneDrive, the University of Nottingham, IDL team of the week.
Yeah, OneDrive, University of Nottingham. They did not sign up for me to do this shit, bro.
Anyway,
Okay.
a literally completely unrelated question. Maybe you also know the answer because I think you went to University of Nottingham. Nathan, where do I see my grades? I can't log into the website anymore. It's like you don't go here. Where do I see? I've forgotten them.
I have them on my degree transcript.
I think I had a
I
website
gave that to my
for it.
mum. I gave that to my mum.
Did I have? Was this? Oh yeah, I just did it on this fucking thing here. If
I was applying to a job and
see
they
my
wanted my specific grades per module and I couldn't remember. Oh my god, look, throwback. Look at math. Oh hell no.
Bro, how did this motherfucker get a 2-1 after this first year, bro? I think I know something about this.
Go to management. Go to management.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's
Engineering management.
Oh,
Okay, sorry, slight.
dodgy.
Sorry, slight. Yeah. So then we had. Okay, so this is wrong. Ryan got robbed, and I don't know why. So But for the most part,
Also, wait,
everything
was
else.
this the hero then? Was this even Nick's higher game?
Yes. 25 versus
got
Oh yeah, because he gets
negative
minus four for
-4.
the AA, of course. Yeah, no, that seems right, doesn't it? Yep.
So why is this? I mean, this has just caused more problems than good this season, to be honest. But why is Ryan not got? Because it counted. Oh no, it didn't. Maybe it didn't count this game. I don't know. But it counted.
No, it counted the Ricky one, but I don't know if it counted the other one.
But it didn't
Maybe
count the.
he's just screaming too much.
I don't know. Yeah, Ryan, you are our honorary MVP for this episode, and you
Well,
won't
not
be
honorary.
there.
Nothing about honorary. Ryan is the MVP.
Ryan, you actually are the MVP from this season. From this.
I very much need you to make a Ryan Team of the Week card. You can do it fucking manually if you have to, but he is owed it. This is my delegate. This is someone on my team, and it's Ryan. He's a special boy, and I
Okay.
love him very much.
I'll
I
make
need
it
that
at some
card.
point. Okay, yeah. Okay.
You better do it. I've just put a message in the Goku thing saying that Ryan was robbed.
Right. Okay. Ryan, I'm sorry. I'll get you one at some point when I got some time. So that's MVP Team of the Week, which was the wrong Team of the Week. But you guys, I'll send you your cards in a bit. Well done if you got that. And to Ryan, who didn't get it for some reason.
For some reason.
Yes.
And sure enough, the episode I'm on is going to be the longest podcast episode ever.
Actually, I don't know if it is. I need to check.
No,
we
this
don't
feels
we don't have to check it live now. It's okay. We can actually bring the podcast to an end first.
No,
No, we
we
need to
never-
check. We need to check. 147. But that was longer. We're currently at 141. So
That's fine.
Oh,
That's fine. We can
oh.
leave it here.
okay.
No, I kind of fuck with just killing time for 8 minutes.
Do we
I
have
don't
do we have
Well,
any more
I'm gonna
questions?
Go, and I can leave you to it.
know.
I don't think I have any.
Nathan,
I'll
I
just
have an
check it.
entire wife to get to.
Wait. I might have any. I might have one more questions.
Oh, last second questions.
I have
He's
no more
literally writing
questions.
them
I have no more questions.
right.
That is all. That is all for today, folks.
Yeah.
Unless we have anything else, which I don't think we do.
No, we did a lot of yapping.
We did a
surely
lot of
went
yapping.
about
That was.
this.
I just want to throw out there. The first 1 hour of that was probably my first favorite hour of podcasting so far.
was
That was
really
really
good. That was
fucking
really
good, and I
fun.
hope people watch this episode because that was.
Yeah.
This has been
They've
a
all
sick
been good.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah,
They've all been
maybe we'll
good.
switch the order. We could. Well,
This
well,
is-
actually, podcast listeners who make it this far, thank you. And
Thank
also, do you want us to switch the order and do the yapping at the start and then talk about the games? Do you think it's better? Do you like being edged like that? Have
I
you
feel
got
like we probably need to write all these questions down that we've asked and make discussion points in the podcast.
Yeah,
At the end of the
like,
season. At the end of the
unhinged
season.
Comment.
See, oh, somebody's sick of us. There is definitely a few things to say at the end of the season. Like, I will be doing the most I can to make podcasts better next season, which will require a lot of feedback. So if I'm constantly yapping, as I have been doing in the chat about feedback, I'm sorry, and please give feedback. That's all.
Yes. I will try and do more as well. Henry does basically all of it. I just
Attend.
yeah.
And as the host of the podcast, I
do everything.
Yeah, you do everything. Right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Thank you very much, Nathan, for coming on and your
Thank
time
you.
and putting up with us.
Yeah, and this is the first time I've seen your camera not just randomly freeze, so you must have done something.
Yeah,
there.
something's going.
I'm using a different camera.
It was zooming around the place on your face.
RIP
Like,
first camera. I like the moving.
Yeah,
camera.
yeah,
I
it's-
like the... Are you sure you couldn't just bust out a quick 8-minute song so that this is the longest episode on the piano?
oh,
I mean,
oh
it's
yes.
like-
Oh my god.
It's happening.
It's actually happening.
For the audio listeners, Nathan is at a piano now.
Turn off crisp.
Is that Keen? Is it somewhere only we know?
You see,
They're good enough, Nathan.
I'm out of
enough.
practice, I'm out of practice.
That'll
What was
do.
the song? Did I...
It was indeed Keen, though, yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's good enough.
I'm gonna get hired as Shazam. I'm the new Shazam. I know that one Keen song.
Shazam
Actually, I
yourself
know
a
two
job.
In the world where AI is taking human jobs, the only way they're going to make up for it is by giving Finn very basic AI jobs to do.
the basicest of AI jobs.
True.
When you pause your movie on Amazon, I'm gonna tell you who the actors are personally.
Yeah.
Hey, Nora. Hello. Hello.
Oh,
Were you
one more
excited?
Nora feature for the road.
For the
Nora,
fans,
sit.
for the Nora fans.
Sit.
She said.
Good girl.
That's what Nathan said last night. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, bro, behave, dude.
Let me full screen. Let me full screen this.
I showed my twin sister your Instagram because I was talking about how cool you were, Nathan, and she loved Nora. So
No,
She's-
Nora's
Yeah, I mean,
very
Nora,
large on the screen
Nora
right
is
now.
at this point about 70% of my personality.
and what a good personality it is, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right. Thanks, Nathan.
yeah.
Thanks, Finn.
Thank you.
Thanks, listeners. Really, if you've listened this far,
Yeah,
that was,
you've listened this far.
Really.
you've
Thank you,
withstood
but
another Nathan game.
also, why?
Yeah. As always, a lot of stuff to discuss in the chat. I think, especially from the first hour this week. So, all feedback welcome. And Nathan's trying to get me to shut up. So, goodbye, everyone. Tune in for Nelson.
Of a blindfolded man throwing a dart, and it says Henry picking the MVPs for the week.
Amazing. Okay, see you next week for a Nelson episode. Stay tuned,
See you.
and thank you,
Stay
everyone.
tuned.
Goodbye.